And a very warm welcome back, everybody, to the 2026 Big Five Racing Cheltenham Festival preview. We're at the halfway stage. We've got days 3 and 4 left to come from you. If you did miss any of our tips from days 1 and days 2, they are linked right down below. They should be very easy to get. We took you through the Champion Hurdle, the Champion Chase, loads of good handicaps. Cotty's Nap handicap of the week in day 2 as well. That is absolutely worth going and having a look for. We've got a fresh 14 races to take you through now over the next couple of hours, and we're going to start with the Thursday, St. Patrick's Thursday. I don't know why it's called St. Patrick's Thursday, it just is. We have got 7 races, so these are where the kind of strong Irish favourites really come to their own. I think there's 4 odds on or close enough that we're going to take you through, and we'll find out which one of these the boys like and which ones they don't. I say at the start of every podcast, and I've just been mocked for doing it, but I do encourage anybody who needs to go and visit begambleaware.org. It is a link that is put down in the description to help with responsible gambling. This is not financial advice. It is just us having a little bit of a chat about some horses running around a field. Okie dokie, day 3 then. With the way that the Tuesdays now kind of moved with the mares coming over to this card, I would make a very strong argument this might be the best day to go to the Cheltenham Festival now. It is stacked with good graded potential, 2 nice mares races, the 2, of course, cajoling championship races as well. We've got a lot to get you through, so let's just get straight into it, shall we then? The first on our cards, the 120, the Ryanair mares, Novices Hurdles, a grade 2, the Dawn Run as it's famously known, a class 1, 2 mile, 1 furlong event. This has been a horse for probably the last month or two where every single person who's shrewd in the game really thinks this is just going to win and will back up its win in the bumper from last year. That's Bambino Fever for Willie Mullins. It'll take on Old School Outlaw at 9-2, and then it is 10-1 bar the lot of them. When you come to the betting markets, there's only one man, of course, to start with these, and it is Cotty. So we'd go with Bambino Fever here, who won the bumper 12 months ago, was absolutely godshite on its first attempt over hurdles, but rectified that with a nice performance there last time out, 57 days ago. Comes here as one of the big contenders for the Willie Mullins yard this year, and is going to do what?
Yeah, I think you're pretty harsh in saying it was poor on its first hurdle start. I mean, it was sent off 1-4. Granted, it was beat half a length by Old School Outlaw, who she faces again today. The Mullins horses weren't really firing at that time of the year. Old School Outlaw had a run. Must have been a decent performance for JP McManus to pick her up after the race. I do think she'll turn the form around. However, was very impressive second time out. Granted, a 1-10 shot, but won a champion bumper last year. Course form probably her time of year. I'd say the 4-5 mark now is maybe a little bit skinny, but this should really get the favourite backers off to a start, and I think the Irish will probably stamp their authority on the Prestbury Cup this day. I'd like to think Great Britain might be ahead by this stage, but that could be wishful thinking. Another one I like at a price, Kingston Queen for the David Pipe Yard. I was at Warwick the other day when she won. Looked to be going very easy round the bend. Kind of lost concentration at the last and hung right. Showed a good attitude to hold on when a horse came upside her. Won a nice maiden hurdle at Chepstow earlier on in the season. Beat a horse that day easily. Cryptic Jim, who has since come out and won that race at Cheltenham when there was a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's decent bits of form. Was third behind Old Park Star round Cheltenham, so that's another tick in the box in regards to track form. So yeah, I'd imagine Bamboo Fever would take a bit of beating, but hopefully Kingston Queen can fill the places.
Boil over in this last year, Dec, whenever the Gavin Cromwell mare, I can't remember the name of it, came here as a pretty short price favourite and was done the line by Henry's.
Art of
No, Air of Entitlement won it. Was it 6?
That's it.
And
Yeah.
a half, 6.5.
6.5. That's the one. Yes. So we had a boil over in it last year at a short price when a Henry de Bromhead horse came and won that day. Do you think there's going to be another one here, or are you confident enough to take the short-priced mare to back up that bumper win?
I think Bambino Fever will win here, yes. Obviously, that first run when Old School Outlaw beat her, obviously she wasn't fresh and the Mullins horses weren't firing, as Cott mentioned. I think it's between the top two in the market, and you could almost get away with playing a forecast here. And I think so because the third favourites 10-1. You know, they seem to be levels of quality above everything else around. I do want to give a quick mention to Carrigmore Spruce, just at a price, Declan Quealy horse. If it runs in this race, I'll be on each way. Second to Skylight Hustle in the €59,000 race on pure form lines. This thing looks real favourable at the price. So yeah, that's it from me really.
Good, Bambino Fever there for yourself to back up one for the short price favourites and then one at a bigger price as well. I alluded to it the other day whenever we were doing the juvenile race, the Boodles, whatever it's called these days, and she wasn't entered for that, which is good news for me. So it leaves her down to 2 entries. Has this opportunity in the mares, also in the Triumph as well, because she qualifies for being a 4-year-old. And I'm praying this is the one she goes. Well, it doesn't really matter to me which one she goes to because I'm going to back her in either. But Highland Crystal, 16s, you can get 20s, I think, in some places too. Is probably the one I'm confident on the most in the double-digit range for the festival this year. It's 3 for 3. All 3 of those going over the sticks as well. Skip the whole bumper bollocks. Jordan Gainford rode the first 2 times, won at Punchestown by 14 lengths on debut. 6.5 then when it came over to Newbury in the winter on soft ground. Beat a horse Trilly Girl that day at even money, and then at Nace a couple of weeks ago as well. Beat Saratoga, who's one of the fancies for the Boodles by 3/4 of a length. So 3 for 3. Gets a little bit of an allowance going down to 10-8 against the 11-4s for the older horses, so that's the only kind of qualification you would give her there. But I just think that everything she's done so far in terms of her jumping and her speed has really impressed me. All of those wins have come over the minimal 2 miles, so I think that her trip is absolutely amicable here. We've talked about Gordon Elliott having a big festival, so I'm really, really keen on this Highland Crystal towards Bambino Fever at the top of the market. Just way, way, way too short. This just looks like a relatively deep mare's novice, to be honest. You can make good arguments for the likes of Old School Outlaw, who beat Bambino Fever earlier in the season, and JP picked him up, like Cotty said. Echoing Silence is 2 for 2 for Henry de Bromhead, who has a fantastic record with his mares, especially at the Cheltenham Festival. The Carrigmore Spruce that Dec put up there as well for Declan Quealy, who's been brilliant recently, is there at 14s. I just think there's so much depth in the race that there's a lot that can get this Bambino Fever beat against other short price favourites, the likes of Imagebra, Factorfile, who we'll talk about shortly. So I wanted to take a chance at a big price there, and I'm actually very confident with my pick there. Highland Crystal 16s in the Mare's Novice. We'll keep it rolling. 2 o'clock then, the Jack Richards Novices Limited Handicap Chase. It's a grade 2, 2.5 mile class 1 event, and we've got a much deeper renewal, I would say, than the inaugural that we had last year when they switched to a handicap. Cocktail Diving is there for Henry de Bromhead at 9-2. Meet Me by the Sea for Ben Pauling and JP McManus. That has attracted a lot of support. 12 slashed into 6s. Regent Stroll at 6s. There's no Potter's Charm this year, unfortunately, that won it last year. But a couple of good horses.
Potter's Charm.
Was it not Potter's Charm that won it last year?
No.
Potter.
Mighty Potter.
Not Mighty Potter. Caldwell Potter.
How many fucking Potters?
I didn't run in this since it was a graded race.
Just keep going through every Potter until we find one.
Potter's
Corner ran in a fucking national a few years ago. Just keep going through them. Anyways, Cocktail Dive and then Deck, 92 favourite for this one. Fantastic win last time out. Blew them away. If you've been listening to Darragh O'Keefe in the last couple of weeks, he's talking this horse up like it's a Willie Mullins 1-3 Gold Cup favourite. He really, really fancies the chances of this one, and he'll take the ride for it. Do you agree with him?
I can see why there's so much support for him, and there's a lot of talk about him, but I'm actually against. I picked Regent Stroll here, 13-2. Finished second here on New Year's Day, But more strikingly for me, earlier in the season, finished third behind Wendigo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know this lad was an expensive purchase. Was it 650 grand or something like that?
Something like that.
And I do believe, like his predecessor, Caldwell Potter, he will eventually come good and the money will talk. On that note, he's followed a similar sort of prep and plan to what Caldwell Potter did last season. And Nichols obviously knows what he's doing in these kind of races. I think he's still got loads of improvement left in him, and he looks like one of those who's going to get better as he gets older. He's one to follow all through the spring for me. And yeah, 13-2 at the moment seems a steal if you want to back him each way, which I will be doing. And I can see him definitely being short on the day.
A steal, says Declan Farley there about Regent Stroll, the expensive purchase. He's starting to get a good eye for the game there. Paul Nicholls, every winner he has these days is priceless at the Cheltenham Festival. We had a little bit of a chat off air, Cotty, about your betting strategy for the Thursday. I won't give it away, but cocktail diving is going to go into your green slips.
No, I actually...
Change your horse.
No, I thought Meet Me by the Sea was favourite now, but obviously the sport for cocktail divan has overtaken him. I've got Meet Me by the Sea in an anti-post slip at 12-1, so nice to see some support for this horse. I think that's probably down to Lydia Hillsop gave this horse a very big word on the Paddy Power preview the other night, so that's probably why that horse has been backed. But now I've been impressed with this horse this season. Started off this season at Wetherby. Was impressive that day. Beat a horse called Push the Button, who has run a good race in a graded race since. Went to Ware and was pretty weak in the market. Behind Fingal Bridge, who was behind Lalamba on chase debut when Lalamba made its chase debut at Exeter. Ran at Newbury the other day, and the game spirit was just there for a run and blow away any cobwebs and get him A1 for this. And
drop £5 off.
Yeah, I think Ben Paulin might have had a little bit of a plan with this horse ever since Air. So I find it very very interesting. But there is a couple of horses, Cocktail Divan and 6 Mile Bridge, bring graded form into the race. So it'll be a hard race to pick the winner. But I've got 12-1 on a horse at 6-1, so I can't really moan at the minute.
No, you're in at the good prices there. It's been very well backed in those silks. I mean, when you start to see money come for it, there's usually one man responsible for it. Meet Me by the Sea, 6-1 for yourself and the Jack Richards. I've just realised, because I've put a Rob Core horse up in the first, I'm going to put one up here, and then we've got one later. I'm going to need to buy a new scarf, I think, between now and Wednesday. Slate Steel, we talked about there yesterday when we were talking through the plate. It didn't get entered in that, so this now leaves the sole entry. So I don't really want to talk too much about that again here, but you have lost a lot of money trying to back this horse at short prices over the last couple of years, since that win in the Supreme. Since he's gone chasing, there has been a couple of frailties, but then again, at the same time, he's had 5 efforts, finished second 4 times, and he was brought down very unfortunately on New Year's Eve. Brilliant Jerry Hannon commentary when it came down there. It's worth going and find a listen to. So I think that, as much as I don't like horses with seconditis, I think that this is a very good spot for Slade Steele. It'll be second string for Henry de Bromhead most likely. Carries 11.5, so he gets a couple of pounds off his stablemate as well. And the likes of 6 Mile Bridge, who I think has been rock solid all year, but I don't think I could back it at 11.9. I just think 10-1 seems to be a very well settled price for this, and I'm hoping that it's finally... if it gets second, then 10-1 is a 2-1 place winner, but hopefully we can get the full value of 10-1, and Slade Steel can finally get its head into the game properly. 240, another mares race, the Close Brothers Mares Hurdle, the Grade 1 Class 1 event, which is 2.5 miles, and at the minute it's got joint non-run and no-bet favourites. We'll know a little bit closer to the time about Lossiemouth. She was left in the Champion Hurdle this morning, as I think a lot of people would have assumed she would be, by Willie Mullins, is the 5-4 favourite alongside Wadhu, who picked up a very nice couple of contests this season, especially at Ascot and a bit of a grogger. We covered that on the podcast. BDA's 9-4, she won't come, and then Jay DeGrugi's there at 5-1, ran a good race last year in this, and big prices about the rest. The division's chopping up a little bit now for the mares as they would have wanted it to, Dec, because the likes, obviously, of Lossiemouth, Brighter Days Ahead, Golden Ace, Cargeese, Mercia aren't going to come here because they're trying to go for bigger targets. I know this is a grade 1, but to go into the open company against the boys is what a lot of people want to see. So on that assumption that Wad, who's 5-4 at the minute, she's probably going to be a bit shorter on the day. Need I say I need to come to Cotty to find out if he's going to be on this mare? Are you going to be on too?
No, I'm on Lossiemouth because I'm 100% sure Lossiemouth comes here. I definitely know the winner of this race will be Irish, but yeah, Lossiemouth for me. And I'll also keep the faith with Feet of a Dance as per our conversation yesterday. I'm of the opinion Lossiemouth just comes out on top. Class and experience come through. She ran flat at the DRF, obviously, in the champion. But I can put a line through that on the notion that Mullins knows how to get her ready for Cheltenham. And I do want to take nothing away from Woodoo, though, because she's been mighty impressive all season. And this won't be Lossiemouth's usual mare's procession of 8 lengths, ease down to the line. It will be a lot closer. But for me, Lossiemouth tried and tested in this race. I'm hoping that by 3 o'clock, Richie will have a big smile on his face and I'll have a load of cash in my wallet.
Anything you want to add, Cotty?
No, I agree that Lossiemouth will go in the mares and win. I also agree that it won't be as easy as some of her previous encounters in the mares. But Woodoo's probably thinking, praying that Lossiemouth will go to the champion hurdle, but I can't see it myself. I'd imagine Lossiemouth would come here and take the wheel to beating.
Sensational mare. Absolutely brilliant. Won this twice before. Cheltenham record is absolutely astounding. Won the Triumph a couple of years ago as well. There's nothing to want to put you off this. Ran a good race in Ireland in the Irish Champion against Brighter Days Ahead. Only went down a couple lengths in really testing conditions over 2 miles. I've never really had an issue with her being a 2 miler, but over 2.5, she seems very immortal to me. Especially that win at Aintree whenever Constitution Hill came down. We'll never know what would have happened if Cornhill stayed in his feet, but for my money, Lossiemouth's already beaten Wadhu in that occasion, and I just think everything lines up for this. I don't know how the market's going to play out for it. It's probably the only thing, because they'll probably both be entered and decked here, but I can't imagine they're both going to be odds against, because you would just, some people would just blind back stick 20 grand on both of them, and you're going to pick up a quick 3-4 grand, but we don't have that kind of bankroll, unfortunately. But I do believe Lossiemouth is just way too good for them and should be picking up the mares. Good, we're flying through day 3 then, which leaves us now to what I've decided is the feature of day 3.
Back in third, the final flight in the stayers hurdle, and it's Bob Hollinger who's now taken the lead for Rachel Blackmore. Goes on.
The Rob Corps heads up there from 12 months ago when Bob Ollinger, the old-timer, the undefeated at Cheltenham Bob Ollinger, got the better of the very well-represented and the 2024 winner Teahupoo when they came to the last in that version of the race. This year we've got the 2026 Paddy Powers Stayers Hurdle. It's a Grade 1 Class 1 event over 3 miles. It'll be run at 3:20 as it's flipped with the Ryanair. Teahupoo was nearly always favourite for this race these days, and we covered it a couple of weeks ago with the simplicity of why this horse is always at the top of the market. He is 9-4 to return to the top of the Stayers division. Honesty Policy has been relatively good this year, had a good chance in the long walk as 9-2, remains reasonably unexposed as a young pretender. Cabral du Matan is still left in here at 5-1 after that win at Haydock when he stepped... he didn't go to Haydock in the end, did he? So we're kind of going with bases there that, we need to figure out if he's a 3-miler. Bob Ollinger, the legend himself, 7-1 is 11 now. 8 about Mashan 2, and then if you like Ballyburn these days, he's 12-1. Cotty, Matty hates him. And we've never really been able to get to the bottom of why, because when we talk in terms of Teahupoo, we talk about a consistent... job done, see him a couple times a year, typically always wins, horse. He's won his last 3 Grade 1s, he's been good this season, and there's a very good chance he gets his crown back here.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why anyone would hate this horse, really. It's run 21 times over hurdles, it's won 14 of them, it's won £990,000 in prize money. I mean, if you're gonna hate on horses like that, then I'd love to see what horses you would love. I think he takes a lot of beating. I can't really wrap my head around why honesty policy is so short in the betting.
I guess it's the unexposure of honesty policy that people are buying into, isn't it? It was a good enough run at Ascot, and he could come on.
Yeah,
form.
but to only be seen once, it's like they're taking the Teahupoo route with this horse.
It's got so much to prove in a race like this, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's only run 6 times in his life. Take away the point to point. It's never finished outside the 3 in those 6 runs. But I just think, yeah, it was impressive enough entry and showed a good attitude. But I mean, was that a deep race? I'm not too sure myself for a novice Grade 1 at the entry meeting. Was then beat by Jasmine DeVoe at the Punchestown Festival, and then on reappearance was third at Ascot. I just couldn't have that at 9-2. Not one bit. So yeah, I do fancy Teahupoo. Cabral de Mafan was very impressive over 2 mile 4. I'd rather see that horse win first at 3 miles than back it on Thursday. If it wins, then fair enough. It looks a very, very nice horse. Bob Ollinger, I can't see how that horse can keep the form with Teahupoo. I think Teahupoo will be given a lot better ride this year than he was last year by Jack Kennedy. I think if you could give Jack Kennedy one race he could go back on in the last year and have another go at, then I think the Stayers Hurdle would probably be top of the list. Mashan 2 for Emma Laval won this race obviously a couple of times with Paisley Park. She knows what it takes. This horse has improved massively throughout the season. Seems to have a massive love for Cheltenham, and I think 8-1's a fair price. I'd struggle to see that out the frame. I think just seems to absolutely love Cheltenham. Has won me a few quid this season at the place, so yeah, I'll probably have a go on that each way maybe. But yeah, Teahupoo for me would take a bit of beating.
Teahupoo at the top of the market there for Cotty. Can we get a bit of love going for Bob Ollinger here quickly, Dec? I don't like when he's dismissed by Cotty because I don't really understand it. He's been an absolute star at this racecourse. Was second to Teahupoo at Christmas time in his only run this season. So again, Rob Kerr obviously like keeping the 3 milers quite patiently weighted, knowing that this is going to be the main target. Won the race last year. I think he started the day at 16s. He went off about 8s or 7s and got the better of a disappointing ride from Jack Kennedy, as Cotty alluded to there. Can he do it again?
No. It does seem a bit crazy saying that outright, with obviously the form that horse has carried over the years. But yeah. How old is 10 years now?
11.
11, yeah. So won't be for me. I think this is a great renewal. It's be one of those that I think we'll look back in 2-3 years' time when the young pretenders are Cabral Dumatan and Honesty Policy, if he stays in this division, we'll look to them and think, bloody hell, what a race that was back in 2026.
Yes.
I think one of the established horses wins this. Cotty's pretty much hit the nail on the head for me with what he said. In a race where it's all about patience and almost that ability to be switched off and then come alive when you're asked, we know Teahupoo has that in the locker. And Kennedy's going to be almost, baying for blood, getting chinned last year. Been in fine form all season. Obviously, absolutely battered Bob Ollinger and Ballyburn at Christmas. I'm not really reading too much into this race. I do think it's pretty black and white. Hopefully, avenge what happened last year and go in. And I think it's interesting just looking at some of our selections for day 3. I think it was a few years ago where something like 5 out of the 7 favourites went in on the Thursday. And this has that sort of look about it as well. So, yeah.
I hope so, because this is the same as Lossiemouth. All 3 of us put her up. We're all going to put Teahupoo up as well. I tried to make the argument for Bob Ollinger, and I will back the forecast because he just is an absolute monster at this place. Of course, age isn't on his side, but the run in Dublin was good enough behind Teahupoo in a race where Ballyburn was the favourite on the day, which just kind of blows my mind. He's still in here at 12-1. There was a funny quote. I don't know how much you can read into it about Ballyburn going to the National Hunt Chase at one stage. I think they were talking about supplementing him for. So I don't know how much that fruited, but he wasn't entered. So we'll just assume that Willie was just kind of taking the piss out of us with that one. There's not much more I can add with Teahupoo. He is just an absolutely rock solid contender at this level. He's been at the top of the game for about 4 seasons now. Should probably be coming into this as a 2-time champion stayer. And I expect him to leave next week with that title. 9-4 seems a pretty good price to me. I agree with Dec, though. That price is verified into what looks a really good renewal of the Stayers Hurdle. A lot of young horses in there, the likes of Honesty Policy, Cabral Dumathan, Mashantu. There's plenty in there, and then obviously you've got the old guards in there. A lot of talk about Home by the Lee at a big price. I couldn't have him these days at 11. But obviously you've got Hewitt will probably come here. Florin Porter is still knocking about. He's won 2 of these things, but his best day seen behind him. So I just thought it was simple, and Teahupoo should just win the Stayers.
So you've got the forecast there. Mashantu, Honesty Policy, and Cabral Dumathan. Who do you think finishes first? Or you can have a little trifecta bet.
Do I get a £3 a year if I put it up?
Not with me, no. You bankrupt me.
I would go Mashantu. I think based on what I've seen this year at the festival, at Cheltenham during the season, I think it's won 2 or 3 times this year. I don't think it's ever lost at Cheltenham. Cotty was bang on. Emma Lavelle has just got this thing for 3-milers. Harry Cobden will take the ride on that, and yeah, I like the thing is with Honesty Policy, he's so hard to back based on that on exposure. I know that's what you're betting into, but I don't know. I just don't like seeing it. The easy one to rule out for me would be Impostoir, because that run the other day was absolutely dreadful. Mashantu buried a horse that had every chance to win, and it just Nico was never able to get that horse going. So that's the easy one for me to say just won't win. If you want a 1-16 to lay, that would be him. But yeah, I would probably go Teahupoo, Bobby, and Mashantu. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, why not? I mean, when you have the slip on the day, I'll have a couple of quid with you.
Nice. Yes, I look forward to that. I love gambling. Right then, that's the Stayers out of the way then. We've got the other feature from day one, but I don't really understand how they've decided to switch this in the hope that it was going to bring a whole load of horses, because we won't talk about this for very long. But the 4 o'clock is the Ryanair Chase. It's the Grade 1 Class 1 over 2.5 miles at the festival run this year at 4 o'clock. It now looks pretty concrete that Factifile, who won the Irish Gold Cup a couple of weeks ago at the DRF, is the 4-5 favourite at the minute. John Bond still holds his position in the race. He's 11-2. Looks like he'd probably come here over the champion chase unless they're saving him for the Melling at Aintree in a couple of weeks' time. Heartwood at 6s will come here. Gaelic Warrior 13-2 presumably is now going to go to the Gold Cup. Banbridge is 7s. Django Bay is 7s. It won't go, obviously, he'll go to the Gold Cup. Romeo Coolio won't come here, he'll go to the Gold Cup. He'll go to the Arkle. And Elite Temple will go to the champion chase. So, bit of a bitch this really to figure out, Cotty, because this could genuinely be about 4 runners on the day, and there's one very, very good horse who won this 12 months ago and should win it again.
Yeah, I think the one of my favourite quotes is "Have what you can afford on and a bit more." I think this simply applies to Factifile. It was absolutely poor. It was just so impressive last time in the Ryanair. I think looking at the market, it looks set to come here. I know the way you're thinking has been backed for the Gold Cup. Same connections, well, same owners. So I think that probably indicates that I know the way you're thinking will be JP's Gold Cup horse, and then Factifile will come here. And I think the only horse it will have to beat is Heartwood, who he had no problems beating this time last year. Gaelic Warrior will go to the Gold Cup, and I think John Bond will have Cheltenham off and go to Aintree. So yeah, it's just this will just be a case of jump 12, 13 fences, pick up the 211 grand prize money, and another one on the board for Mullins.
Is 4-5 a non-run and no bet price?
I
see a lot of 4-7 floating about with bookies. I do know definitely are, but is there still 4-5 available non-run and no bet?
Non-run and no bet is 4-7. To back him without non-run and no bet is 4-5. So if you're gambling on him to win, you may as well gamble on him to go for this race. So I'd be taking the 4-5. I'd say it's pretty concrete now that he'd be going to the Ryanair. So yeah, have what you can on and more.
Dec?
Yeah, totally agree. I would say this is an absolutely dreadful renewal, really shallow, obviously, other than the top 2-3 in the market. If Factifile turns up here, which is looking like he does, he simply wins for me. I am going to be a little bit romantic here as well. Obviously, it's not confirmed, and I do think the tactic will be that he'll go straight to Aintree. But if John Bond turns up here, I know I'm not reinventing the wheel from a punting perspective, but I think you've got to have a few quid each way, haven't you? You know, retains every bit of class, brave, still loves his racing. I can't get over how gutsy he was in that Clarence House. Obviously, what we now think is a bit of an inadequate trip for him. Just loves his racing. So yeah, I'll have Factifile to win and a little each way play if John Bond turns up, 5-1. Maybe shorter, but if he stays at 5-1, it's an each way bet to nothing just for a bit of romance.
Yep, I like it. I would assume John Bond is probably going to be safe for Aintree, where you can have a bit of a bigger bet on him because the fact
But
JP's a really good Factifile. Yeah,
I want to reiterate how much of a crap renewal this is. You know, it's just
hammer it
pathetic.
home. Just let them know, Dec. Just let them know. And it's kind of frustrating because the market is so confusing to read because, I mean, like, Factifile's not going to go off anywhere near 4-5 if the likes of John Bond and Gaelic Warrior don't turn up here. And there's some finitely that definitely won't. Django Bay, Romeo Coolio, Ilite Tomp. So the only ones you know are definitely going to go is what? Factifile, Heartwood, Banbridge, Ampere Pass probably should go here. I think even Firefox is going to the Gold Cup. Panic Attack, maybe, but I don't know. It'd be very difficult to see more than 5 or 6 lineup for this. I've got all the time in
Panic
the world.
Attack will be in the mares, wouldn't it?
Probably, yeah. I've got all the time in the world for Factifile. I was really impressed, and I backed him in the Brown Advisory the year that he won it. I went off him a little bit there for a while whenever he was in the Gold Cups against Galopan, but that was more just backing Galopan de Champ than it was going with Factifile on the day. Equally in the King George, I thought he had no chance, and that was a disappointing run. But obviously, we know how good of a horse he is over 2.5 miles. He won the race last year. He ran Gaelic Warrior to the absolute bone of it in the John Darkin at the start of the season. So I feel a bit stupid for doing this, but I just think I'm going to take a free, hopefully each way to nothing crack on Heartwood and fill out that Rob Core Lucky 15. And again, I'm not dismissing Factifile at all. He probably will win the race, but Heartwood has just been an absolutely bolt of consistency over 2.5 miles for the last couple of seasons. Was second, of course, to Factifile a couple of years ago. I'm sorry, last year. That was a 9-length one. Since then, pulled up at Ferry House. He just looked shattered on the heavy ground at Ferry House in the Irish National Festival. But since then, he's put 2 wins together. He won a Grade 3 at Punchestown against Monbeg Park at the start of the season. Last time out, he won at Tremor against Il Atlantique, who was a one-time very good 2-miler. So I think the runs are there. Acts on soft ground very nicely as well. He was in the John Dorcombe where he was arguably best of the rest, along with Fast or Slow. Whenever Gaelic Warrior and Factifile went to battle, but if you just write that as an off day, the consistency has been there since, and he was second to Crook Park at one stage, so obviously I put that in quite good demand.
Yeah, Bob, it's interesting you say that, because on that day at Tremor, guess who finished in third?
It was Croke Park, because it was the New Year's Chase.
So that further alienates your claim he's going to win the Ultima. So not to bring up the old action, but yeah.
So when Croke Park does win the Ultima,
everything's going on Heartwood.
Well, Heartwood will be like the 4-9 favourite to win this, won't he? Because the form line will be extraordinary. I just think the Heartwood, you get a fair enough shot at 6-1, to be honest. But again, I think I'm just sort of stung by the way I've been betting Cheltenham this year. Like, I've had so many short price favourites losing, and I'm so sceptical to take this muggy treble or fourfold that people will be having with Bambino Fever, Lossy Mouth, Teahupoo, and Factifile. Something has to get beat, doesn't it? So I'm just hoping this is the one I can get beat. But if it's the same Factifile that was in this race 12 months ago, he'll blitz them. But I just thought 6-1. You can't go wrong with a bit of a 6-1 shot, can you? Good. There we go. That is the Ryanair covered and into the books. We've got 2 handicaps, I believe, to finish off the Thursday as well. I very rarely end up staying for the whole Thursday because I've had enough by this time. But the 441st is the Pertemps Network Final Handicap Hurdle. It's a Class 1 event, of course, for those that have qualified through the Pertemps series throughout the year, over 3 miles. Again, a short-priced handicap favourite here for Dan Skelton. He's got so many of these. Supremely West is 9-2. That's essentially been sliced in the last week as well, so good money coming from that. Say Differon for Sam Thomas is there at 10s, holding his ground. Ace of Spades is another one for the Skeletons. Electric Mason, who Cotty put up a couple of weeks ago at Haydock and won, is 12-1 to come here off his qualification. Big prices about any of the others that you like. I'll go to Cotty then first for this one. So plenty of money coming for this 9-2 favourite now for Supremely West, who has run relatively good all season. It fits into the trends of Dan Skelton running his horses, but not to maximum effect to keep a good enough mark. Gets in off 10-4 here, which is pretty light. Do you like him?
I do, but I don't like the price. I think this is probably Dan Skelton's. How do I word it? I think
Biggest
it's his
blood
best.
job?
Yeah, I think he's done really well to get this horse in off this mark. I think out of all the handicaps, he's got a favourite in a lot of them, but I'd say he's done well on this one to get it to the mark. It has was 4th in a qualifier, I think, back in October, November round Cheltenham. Was beat by Electric Mason and Mashan 2 that day. Mashan 2 is now £25 higher from that day. Electric Mason is now £11 higher than that day. And Supremely West is £2 lower. So yeah, I think that's very interesting. But I am going to take him on with Cest Different for the Sam Thomas team. I've also backed this anti-post in a treble with Meet Me by the Sea. I was just really impressed with what this horse did at Newbury to win a 17-runner handicap. Off 12 stone 1, and really hit the line hard and was going away and won really nicely. I know this is a big step up in class, but yeah, this horse is improving from run to run, and I'd like to think that this horse will be there at the finish and hopefully be 2 out of 3 mid treble.
I agree. I'm going to go with Say Differon as well. I liked a lot of what you said there. Chasing a 5-timer. He's worked his mark from 92 all the way up to 131 to qualify for this. And a bit like the trend of Sam Thomas horses in handicaps, they all are quite relatively well treated by the British handicapper. So 131 means he's 10 stone. 6-year-olds have a decent enough record in the Pertemps. Look, this is a tricky race, but if you like the idea that one's been progressing throughout the season and can just keep going one better, against the likes of an Impostoir who gets in here ridiculously but would have to carry 12 stone. That's kind of the verification for it. So I like how low he is down in the weights. He's already qualified, 24 go, he's 22. So I think everything lines up quite nicely there for Say Differon. Declan Farley, Pertemps winner, please.
Yeah, favourites have a pathetic record in this race. And like Cott said, 7-2 is no price for a favourite in this. I think it's the hardest handicap to get good metrics on. Hence why it's so hard to pick the winner, and hence why so many outsiders have good record over the years. I've got 2 tips, so I'll be quick. Ace of Spades is the second string for the Skeleton here, gets in here at 10 stone 8, so 5th in the weight's not ideal, but has decent quality. Was second to Mashan 2 here, over 3 miles. We know that's good form. Then won a qualifier for this race at Huntington at the end of Jan. Won here over 3 mile in 2024, so we know the trip's fine. Really like the profile of this sort of hurdler. Skelton have won it a few times with their theoretical outsiders, so why not? I'll have a flutter at 10-1. My second one is a massive price. I've got Ikarak at 40 and 33-1. Won a race last day at Ayr, much obviously weaker race. Runs on a rating of 133 and a nice weight at 10 stone 2 in this. I've chosen this lad because he was third behind Kiki Joe, who's also entered here. Kiki Joe won at Cheltenham back in December, and Ikarat's mark has been floated about the 120 to 127 in the last 12 months. So a little bit lower than what you'd expect to go and win here, but he's won. I wanted to find it at a bigger price. Like I said, outsiders have a decent record in this race. Bonus for me, champion jockey's going to be on board, so he's in good hands. Chuck a dart, have a bit of fun. I think Monmoral won this at 25 a couple of years ago. So if you land this, chances are anything that's been in the red take you straight into the green all week.
Can I just say, if I put that tip up, I'd be getting an absolute bollocking right now. I don't know how you get away with it.
Yeah, but you see, I substantiate mine with evidence, Bob. You just throw Irish romance horses in, so yeah.
Well, yeah, I like Krug Park because he's a big bastard. What's wrong with that? Fair enough.
Well, that's why you get questioned and Dec doesn't.
And also, if Ikarak wins at 33 to 1, will it be the biggest prize podcast winner?
No, it won't actually.
Oh, fuck off then. Not interested. Take him down.
This guy. Right, that's the Pertemps done then, so we'll move on to the 520. The Roscon Group Folk Walwyn. I definitely didn't say that right. Kim Muir Challenge Cup Amateur Jockeys Handicap Chase. It's 3 miles, 2.5 furlongs, kind of a gold cup for the amateurs, I suppose. You would assume that JP McManus might have the winner of this one because he's got the 3 at the top of the market. Jericho de Repine. How the fuck is Jericho de Repine in this, by the way? 5 to 1. Waterford Whispers came out this morning on the plate, so he's here. You have me in stitches at 10s, and then there's a few English horses in there at 12s and bigger. Cotty, why is Jericho de Repine in the Kim Muir?
Because he wins. Not too sure why he was dropped £3 for his last run at Windsor. I mean, ran against some decent horses that day. I think 145 was the threshold, wasn't it, to get in this race? And they've done a job. Was second in the Pertemps last year behind Doddy the Great, was it? I think it was. Yeah,
I think
and
that
then
was Pertemps, yeah.
Yeah, and then went to the Punchestown Festival and reversed the form with Doddy the Great and won that day. Seems to handle big fields perfectly fine. This will be his first time in a handicap over fences. I'd imagine you'd have all the top amateurs ringing Nicky Anderson up, asking for the ride. Can't
Derek
see.
O'Connor's taken this. Sure.
Well, yeah, you'd like to think so. Yeah, 12 stone shouldn't be too much of an issue, I don't think. Big type of horse, and yeah, that will be the £6,000 in the bank off a fiver when this wins, Meet Me by the Sea wins, and Cess Different wins. So I think I got that treble at about 1,300 to 1. It's now 300. So it'll be a nice sweat if we manage to get to the Pertemps.
What have you had, a fiver on it?
Yeah, 5. Yeah, I think it's six.
So six bags back.
6 and a bit. Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, I'll be coming back to Worcester with you that night if that wins.
Yeah, I still wake up with no money, but yeah.
Lovely. Dec, why is Jericho de Repine in the Kim Muir?
That is a question which I love to know the answer to. But yeah,
Cotty's
he's made a good case there, really. Game of opinions and whatnot. I'm also on a JP horse, but I'm on Waterford Whispers here. There's been a lot of talk on the podcast circuits. I know Johnny Denis mentioned him a couple of weeks ago in a short I saw. Only entry now, as you've said, runs off OR of 133. So 3 less than the favourite at the moment. I've landed on this horse because variety of trips all season, but went up to the upper ends of 2 and 3 mile looks to be most effective. Third in the O'Driscolls at the DRF behind Back Me and Sack Me. What appealed to me about him that day was that stayed onto the line. Like I said, likes that 3 mile trip. Considering obviously Back Me and Sack Me is favoured for the National Hunt Chase, I thought form times in well enough. It's not a race I usually have a massive bet in, partially because I'm trying to protect my money by then, even when I've had a winning day. It's a nice spectacle to watch. Obviously, it gives the amateurs a good chance. I'll have a go on Waterford Whispers. Won't be a massive play, but yeah, it's all from me.
Very nice. The second string there for JP McManus in the market. Waterford Whispers at 13 to 2. I won't waste too much time on this one because my horse has got triple entries and he was in the Ultimate this morning. But Kim Rock is there for Joseph O'Brien, would be in off 131, so we get to 14. the full stone off Jericho de Repine is a big price. I've seen it run a couple of times at Cheltenham. Was very impressive when it finished second there when Jordan's Cross came down in a race there earlier in the season. I think this horse jumps really well. He's got a good attitude for the game. I like the way that he builds into his races. I think over 3-2 here. Good opportunity for him. I think the further the better is the one thing I've learned this year. I think Nick Luck put him up for one of the... I think he said wherever this horse goes is where he's going to back him. And I might be inclined to do that depending on how the Ultimate chops up with the likes of a Crook Park, or he's also in the Jack Richards if I get a nice price on that. Him and Slade Steele seem too good against the field. But I didn't really want to buy into the whole Jericho de Repine thing because I've got this mantra about 12 stone horses at Cheltenham. But if ever the saying a graded horse in a handicap was to be into fruition, the fact that this horse is in a Kim Muir is mental. It's not even really a plot from JP because he wouldn't have expected this horse to climb down to 145, but this is simple. They'll take him there and he'll probably win under Derek O'Connor, or JP's probably got some £10 claimer called Cahill O'Callaghan that we've never heard of that'll get it down to 135. But yeah, just Kim Rock for me, but I didn't have too much more to add in the Kim Muir. Don't know if anyone had anything else to say about it. That stunned silence would suggest no. Brilliant. Okay, so that is day 3 into the books as well there. Before we go, naps. May had switched on for once. The naps from the Stayers Hurdle Thursday, St. Patrick's Thursday. I'll get to the bottom of why it's called St. Patrick's Thursday someday. I went to Dec last time first, so I'll go back to Tip and Tom. Go on, Cotty.
I'll keep it simple. Factor file and the meeting.
Factor for all right, as in easier meeting nap, right? Okay. Well, it was a horse called
daily
a horse
and
called the meeting running somewhere there.
No, daily nap. I'm the meeting.
Okay, brilliant. Dec.
Teahupoo. And I will play a little dark horse here. I'll have my each way selection, Ikarak in, please, as my each way bet of the week.
Lovely. My each way selection is my nap on the Thursday Highland Crystal at 20-1. If it runs in the Mare's Novice, if it doesn't, Teahupoo as well. So get your Rob. I'm gonna order a Rob course off after this, I think. There you go. 3 days down, 1 to go. We are flying through this festival. Thank you again for joining us. I hope if any of you were attending the Thursday, I know Cott's had plenty of mates there in the past that have enjoyed their time down. I think the vibe on the Thursday is always really good, isn't it? I just it's a day that the Irish seem to really enjoy coming over for the St. Patrick's attachment in many ways. Sorry?
Proper day's racing the Thursday.
I like the racing on the Thursday. It's well graded. I think that the Tuesday's loss is Thursday's gain now with the mares coming over as well on the new course, which obviously a far tighter track, so it'll be interesting to see how that's run. But there you go. That's tips for the Thursday. We've got 1 day left, and you are free to join us whenever you see it. We will be going through the 2026 Gold Cup, and my God, it's a good one, isn't it, folks? We hope to see you there for that one. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in the next podcast. Take care, folks.